Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
We are making a fast recipe tonight. It's not gonna be a game changer. Let's begin. I got a pot of water here on my stove that I have lightly salted. I never told you what we're making today. All right, I'm gonna go back to the counter. Tonight we're gonna make ham steaks and mac and cheese. That's right. We're gonna start with the mac and cheese. This should be stovetop mac. There are things in life that are good and simple, and this is one of those things. I've got a non-stick pot here, and to that we are going to make a roux. That's right, to this pot we are going to make a roux. It makes total sense. All right, I've got a tablespoon and a half of butter, which I eyeballed using the cutting thing on the paper for a tablespoon and a half. So we'll go ahead and melt that. The butter is melted, so let's go ahead and add the flour. You'll have the best results by doing it a little at a time, but today we do not care. We are not going for the best results today. It's 2 tablespoons of flour. So we're going a little thicker on the flour than the butter. So we're gonna use whole milk. Whole milk. Whole milk will make the nicest mac because it has all the fat of the milk, which is good for mac. We need about 2 cups of milk. Paste is looking good. You can kind of like knock it around a little bit so it doesn't burn. So one small concern I have is that this burner is a little bit hot, so I don't want to scald the milk by any means. But as you start adding in the milk, what you'll see is that it kind of becomes almost like a horrifically pasty gravy. And it's not a bad idea to add it a little bit at a time to kind of incorporate it, but of course if you end up with lumps, you can usually whisk those out. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of my milk and start whisking. Okay, we may need to whisk that some more, but we'll have that on low heat for a while, and then we'll get working on a cheese. So I'm gonna grate the cheese tonight, and why am I doing that? If you use pre-shredded cheese, there will be anti-caking agents, which can interfere with the texture of your mac and cheese. Not necessarily a bad way, but it's just nicer to not have it there. You know, like just use the regular cheese. Today we want to use about 12 ounces of cheese, which would be like a standard cheese bag, but of course it's not a standard cheese block. This is sharp cheddar. So I basically went for the most normal mac and cheese imaginable. So we'll need about 1.5 blocks. All right. That's right. The cheese hat only comes out for special occasions. Okay, so I'm working on my milk sauce here. I'm gonna whisk it some more. Basically, you want this to thicken, so we'll just keep working on it until it is ready. Also, my pasta is ready. Celentani? It's the swirly one. So that's 1/2 pound of pasta. You can see that in this recipe, the largest ingredient is milk and cheese, as God intended it. So we'll cook that for 11-ish minutes and keep working on our sauce over here, which is starting to thicken. Hooray. You can season this a bit if you'd like. Probably doesn't hurt to add some salt and pepper now. So let's just go ahead and do that. Some salt. Cheese sometimes is salty though, so be careful with that. And we'll do a fine grind of pepper. Then why don't we go wild and crazy and add just a pinch of cayenne. Pinch of cayenne, bang. And let's get pretentious. Where'd that nutmeg go? We're gonna use just the tiniest amount of nutmeg, you know, just a little bit does it. We're gonna do one of these. I'm liking that this is getting thick. I'm liking where this is going. I'm liking it. So you can see that there's some resistance. It's still quite thin at this point, but we're gonna let that keep thickening up. Alright, so I'm satisfied with the thickness of my sauce. It is still thin, but it is definitely thicker than just a pot of milk, for example. So you can see like on the sides, when I push it, it's a little bit slower to refill. But remember, a lot of cheese is going in this. Just bear that in mind, because it's going to be thick. Okay, so we turn off the heat, and we start adding cheese, and we're trying to melt it in. We start with a little bit, add a bit more, and look at that, look how thick that's good. Ooh, Lord, it's cheesy. We'll put in the rest of the cheese. And you will get the smoothest texture possible if you use a whisk. Really get it in there, you know. Full melt. We have melted the cheese, and this is like a nice viscosity, I would describe it as. Smells cheesy. Let's give it a quick taste. Yeah, tastes right. Okay, so we've got about 2 minutes on our pasta, so we'll just let that chill on the back burner for now, but we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Not like you were gonna go anywhere anyways. Okay, it's been 11 minutes. According to the box, that will make the perfect al dente pasta. I'll believe it when I taste it. It's a little chewy. So I think that's fine. I think we'll just throw it in the cheese sauce actually, because you know it is going to continue cooking a bit in there. One thing pretty important to note with the mac and cheese is you do not want to rinse the pasta. Why? Because there'll be some residual starch on the pasta and it'll add to the texture of your sauce. Don't ever handle a pot like I am. Don't do it. I said don't do it unless you're a professional. Then you can do it. Professional. I'm retired. Now we're gonna go ahead and add it in to a pot and we shall mix it up. My first impression is, well, what's going on with this pasta to cheese ratio? I think we could have put a pound of pasta in there, to be honest. That's way too much sauce. What the hell? Maybe you could use a pound of pasta and you would be a-okay. Definitely think you could use some more pasta, but I ain't complaining. All right, that's the mac and cheese. We're gonna let that sit there. I want to give it a little bit of time to kind of marry the flavors, the complex flavors we're using today, such as pasta and cheese. Now let's move on to ham steaks. Ham steaks. Who eats ham steaks? John's parents. I never ate ham steaks growing up. We did eat ham sometimes at holidays, but I think my dad didn't like ham, so we just didn't eat a lot of ham. So here they are. Ham steaks are in fact a steak-shaped piece of ham, which are fully cooked. So this is 1 pound of ham. We will cut it in half to make 4 servings, and we're gonna glaze them in a nice little sauce. Start with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Brown sugar ham vibes. We need a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay. A tablespoon of Dijon mustard, or a mustard of your choosing. You can get wild and crazy with your mustards. Mustards are interchangeable in most applications, such as this one. We need a 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, so that's just kind of like a once over. And the same with ground cloves. That's another like common flavor in hams. This is of course ancient ground cloves, but I smelled it and it smelled good, so I'm happy with it. And then you can salt and pepper. Remember that ham is inherently salty, so don't add too much salt, but do add some pepper. And you want to mix this up with a little spatula. And this will be our glaze. So essentially, we'll have like a thick paste, like so, and we're gonna basically brown the ham steaks and throw this on there, and it'll make it taste good. At the same time as I do that, I am going to also cook our vegetable today. It is not healthy to just eat ham and mac and cheese. Even if John doesn't want to eat his vegetables, you should. All right, so I'm tearing my florets. We're gonna keep the stem too, we'll eat that. And if you have some very, very large florets that are difficult to eat, such as you might, we'll go ahead and chop those just to make it faster to cook, easier to eat. And I'll show you the stem real quick too, because the stems are quite good if you know how to cook them. So one of the things you can do is kind of chop off the outside of the core and then split it. And what you're left with is actually a pretty tender piece of broccoli that is pretty tasty. So in one of our pans, need some butter. So we'll do maybe 1/2 tablespoon of butter over here. We'll turn on the heat, immediately remove the pan from the heat, and we will put enough water to basically cover the bottom of the pan in with the butter, and we'll get that melting. We're gonna kind of saute and steam this at the same time. So the butter will melt into the water. The water will kind of evaporate as the broccoli cooks, and what you're left with is kind of essence of broccoli and butter, and it tastes nice. So we're gonna get that heated up. We'll put the lid on it. Our mac is completely thickened, oh my God. And while that's heating up, we'll get our hams prepared. The royal hams. Okay, so on medium heat, we'll also melt some butter. Same deal, probably maybe 1/2 tablespoon or whatever. And we will begin by melting the butter, and then we'll brown the ham. Okay, this is ready. Be careful with that hot lid if it's hot. So you can see we got like buttery water. Well, you can even salt this actually, for better flavor. And we'll just put our broccoli in, so we can pretend it's a healthy meal. And we will return the lid and get it steaming. So it will cook pretty quickly, but so will our ham steaks. So we should be pretty much all set, ready to go. All right, so let us begin cooking the ham steaks. The fact that there was no sizzle means it's probably not quite hot enough for the ham steaks. We won't get as nice of browning. But again, remember, these are fully cooked already. So is it the end of the world? No, absolutely not. It's important to, you know, neatly cook food that reflects, you know, the patterns and organizations of your life. I think that's important stuff.
So you made a ham flour.
Ham flour, such as I am also a flour of some kind. But definitely I am not a ham flour. Depending on how hot you have the pan, it'll probably take maybe 3 minutes on the side, maybe. So we're gonna try to get some brown, and then we're gonna try to continue to cook it in the glaze a bit. Ooh, what if we cooked them this way? That's even better. Reverse ham flour. Yeah, that works better from a surface area standpoint.
That's the PlayStation D-pad.
That's right. Make a D-pad. You can see through the lid that our broccoli is starting to steam, so it's turning like kind of that bright green, which is very nice. As we check throughout, we'll also see some of that water start to evaporate. It's definitely not been 3 minutes. Let's hang on a second. We'll be back. All right. So, our ham's starting to brown. You don't need a perfect sear, right? Because it's ham. It's okay. You can not be sweaty about this. So we're gonna brown the other side, and while that's going, we will start adding our glaze, which is a very, very thick substance. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to spread on the ham, I think. But the important part is you just kind of coat the outside, and like whatever sticks to the ham, great. And I'll also show you our broccoli is just about done. We do have a little bit of liquid left, but that's fine. It's mainly butter that's left. But I'll show you with the pork test. You know, we have a tender, so pierceable broccoli, but it's not falling apart. That's kind of the important part. Kind of the line between cooked and overcooked. Even our stem is nice and tender. You can pretty easily cut it like so, and tastes good. Tastes like butter. Okay, it's flipping time. Be careful. So, do one of those. And at this point, you know, you'll start to have some of the glaze crystallize onto the ham, which of course is the goal of this exercise. And then we'll add the rest of the glaze to this side. We'll be generous with it because you know, we don't got to keep any more around. The wholesome smell of ham. So probably just a minute, maybe 2 minutes on each side. The ham's definitely warmed at this point, so we're just trying to get some extra flavor on there. This is a slippery ham. Ooh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Ooh, that looks really good. I think it worked. I think we actually got some glaze on there. Hell yeah. You know, honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of ham. I don't get excited by it, but this looks pretty tasty. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So just another quick minute, and it took us like half an hour. I didn't break a sweat, and honestly, it looks pretty darn good to me. So let this be an exercise, a reminder that you can like make nice things that are tasty, and it doesn't have to take, you know, 4 hours. You don't gotta be sweaty. You can just make nice things. Let's go ahead and transfer our ham steaks to a plate for final plating. Oh yeah. Can't leave this stuff behind. I'm sure this is delicious. Oh, that doesn't look good at all, does it? Yeah, it looks good. It just kind of looks like something from the 50s. And there's our ham steaks. All right, let's try this delicious ham steak. You can cut ham with a butter knife. Did you know? Oh, it's good. That glaze gives it, you know, some oomph. Well, you know, in some ways it feels like a dressed up hot dog, but it tastes really good. The glaze is nice. I almost wish there was more sweetness in it, which is surprising because we use mainly brown sugar. So I wonder if like using a darker brown sugar would give it more of a molassesy kind of flavor. I tried the mac as well. It's kind of cold now, but tastes good. Nice, simple, country living home dinner. It was easy. We did it. You can do it too. That's how you do it. Happy cooking. We finished PGC in about 45 minutes. See you next time. Hope you enjoyed this one. Toodaloo.